Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Illinois Stories. I'm Mark McDonald in Springfield at the incomparable Dana Thomas House, the Frank Lloyd Wright masterpiece. You know, 35,000 people a year go through this house, but I'd be willing to bet a very small percentage of those people really stop and take a look at the grounds. And the grounds are the subject of this story because it's not only about the beauty of the grounds, it's about the people that bring these grounds to life every year. And Kurt, it is interesting that, and you're a site interpreter, and you know this house very well, and you've been involved with these historic sites all along. You really couldn't do this on the scale that you do it without people who volunteer to make all this happen.
They bring it to life, that's for sure. The gardens were pretty much depleted when the University of Illinois Extension Master Gardener volunteers showed up, and they created a beauty to enhance the whole experience for people who come from all over the world. They created a design destination, and they add to the luster of this masterpiece.
Yeah, you know, for somebody who, say, just has been through this house numerous times, it would be worth their while just to come one day and tour the grounds.
That's right.
Because there's a lot to see.
There is. Just last Sunday for Frank Lloyd Wright's birthday, the Master Gardeners had a garden walk here. So they had gardeners stationed around to explain the plants, talk about their work here, and that was a nice boost for us because guests who ordinarily would be sitting inside were invited outside for a snack and a drink and a tour.
Yeah, and we got so unlucky today. We just happened to get the most beautiful day of the year to shoot this outdoor story. We scheduled this weeks ago, and it rained and rained and rained, and look what we got today. We got it beautiful. We can look over here. We see it. There's a tour going along right now.
That's right.
Mostly they're talking about the outside of the house and the design of the house, but if you look at all the gardening that they're walking past there, all of that has to be maintained and kept. And you have these groups, these specific groups of people that help you keep the place beautiful. Who are they?
Well, we've got the Springfield Civic Garden Club, and their work is chiefly inside the house. Holiday time in particular, they decorate the house. But we have a plant trough. Frank Lloyd Wright, our organic architect, brought nature into the house literally, and the Springfield Civic Garden Club contribute to that. Right now, geraniums. The holidays, we certainly had a lot of poinsettia in there. We also had the Springfield, or the Central Illinois Orchid Society. I think I have the name right. But they brought their prize-winning orchids after their orchid show and a couple other weekends as well. They're a tremendous asset. You know, I'm looking at the pool right now, and I see the reflection of the water there, and that's the Lincoln Land Water Gardening and Koi Society.
We're going to talk to one of those folks, and they actually got this started, and so they're going to bring that back to life slowly. And the Master Gardeners that you talked about are part of the U of I Extension Service.
Yes, they are. Yes.
And we have one of them here today too, who can show us around all the finer points. So, thank you very much for inviting us in, and we're going to take a tour with those folks.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming today, Mark.
Keith Munter, earlier we mentioned the water garden that you're beginning, you're growing here, and you and the Land of Lincoln Water Gardening and Koi Society come out here, and you're bringing this back to life. This used to be, I guess, a reflecting pool. It's never been a water garden before, but it's becoming one, isn't it?
Right. I understand that at one time it was filled in with dirt and had plants in it, but they refinished it and made it back into a reflecting pool. And through Susan Helm, we was able to find out that they needed some help with it. So we purchased these heritage lilies that are from that period out east and planted them, and this is the third year now for them. And last year somebody threw a couple goldfish in, and they like that. So we said, well, let's get real koi and put in there because that goes with water gardening.
There you go.
So there's
there are a few in there. I don't see them right now. They're kind of spooky right now, but
they are.
But you'll fill it up with koi eventually, and they'll be easy to spot, won't they?
Well, we hope to get some bigger koi as the summer goes on and get in there so people can come and actually look at them.
And these are heritage water lilies that we're looking at. These you say would have been here at that time. So these are 100 and these come from 120-year plants. I guess.
Right.
Yeah. And this runway, I call it a runway, it's a water garden, is, gosh, it must be 25 feet long. It's long, and it's a lot to take care of.
Yeah, when it's, well, right now it's got about 1,000 gallons in it. And the club just purchased a new filter for it. It was just installed 2 days ago.
Oh, good for
so
you
the water's
guys.
Still a little cloudy, but the new filter is filtering that out, and also it has a UV light to keep algae from growing, which was a problem the year before. The water would turn kind of green.
So and now you're also training the staff here
Yes.
to take care of this. And so once you get the plants in there and the fish in there, and you've trained them, then you can go on to other things, and they can keep it up.
Right.
Terrific. Terrific. Well, thank you for visiting with us.
Quite
That's
welcome.
great.
We enjoy it.
Susan Helm, you and the Master Gardeners from U of I Extension Service about 2 years ago started taking care of the grounds here. And when you got started, it was a lot to do, wasn't it?
Yes, the house had been closed for at least a year or more, and so as you can imagine, the grounds were the last thing that people cared about.
Yeah, yeah. And so you brought them back as best you could, but it's interesting, you tried to keep some of the same features that were already here from when Susan lived here, for instance.
Yes, there's the only known photographs I've seen of this courtyard are of the hollyhocks, and so 100 plus years ago, the hollyhocks were here. And so that's one thing that we really cared about. For this west courtyard, we wanted to make it, back to where Susan would have liked it. So.
Well, let's just walk over there and show these folks these hollyhocks. These love full sun, don't they, Susan?
They absolutely love full sun, and we've determined that they kind of thrive on neglect. Sometimes we've tried to fuss with them, but they really just like full sun and heat, and that's what we are able to give them.
Yeah, and these seem to me like they bloomed a little early, but it was kind of planned that way probably from the beginning, because this south wall where all of these hollyhocks are bloomed out, this is the warmest part of this courtyard.
Absolutely. We've also got spring bulbs here. So in March of this year, think about it, we had daffodils coming up and doing fine because they had all the heat radiating from this south wall.
Okay, and so as soon as they're done, then then the peonies come up, right?
That's correct.
Then they start blooming.
They had a banner year. I don't know for everybody else, but our peonies did extremely well. To me, these hollyhocks, they're like pastel painting. They're just beautiful. All the different, colors, and they're biennials. So the ones that are blooming now, they're done now. Their lifespan is done. But they'll drop seed, and so next year,
Yeah.
other
So
plants will.
it's altogether possible that some of the seeds, or these plants are from generations and generations of seeds back when Susan had hollyhocks
It
here.
is possible,
Yeah.
absolutely.
At least
And
you like to think it's
We like to
possible
think
anyway.
that, and like I said, we have some wonderful old Victorian photos from 1904, 1905, and they show these hollyhocks.
Yeah.
So it's one of
This
the
is
things we
where it
like.
belongs.
We like that idea.
Yeah, this is a courtyard. It's got a wall on 3 sides, and because this is the warmest wall, this blooms first. Then that wall, that east-facing wall, will bloom second.
Correct.
And then as we go around to the north-facing wall back there, that'll come in third. So it's kind of cool. You always got something coming on.
I mean, as a gardener, this is like a dream come true because normally you have the same plants like hollyhocks come up, they bloom, they go down at the same time. And in this case, you're right. You're getting longevity, a longer blooming season than you normally would. And
Yeah,
so we
that's
love that
terrific.
fact.
Susan, one of Frank Lloyd Wright's favorite features, one of his design features, was these large round urns and plant them right on a square surface. He loved that juxtaposition, didn't he? And there are 11 of these immense urns here at the house. And when you guys started, there was nothing in them?
That's correct. I
Oh,
think
man.
whatever had been in there had died out. And so we did some research to know what to put back in them. And one of the things we found out was they needed or should have woodbine, which is an official name for Virginia creeper. But we needed to find a variety that was not going to get into the bricks and mortar of the home. So we found one nursery in the United States. And last year we ordered,
Oh, my
ordered
goodness.
our first set. We put in 2 plants into each urn. And we lovingly, painstakingly, watched over them last year. And then this year we added a few more. The winter was harsh on them, but a lot of them did survive.
Oh, good.
And they really look like a waterfall, and that's the idea. We've added in this year a set of them over the front door of the house, which also was there years ago, and on the east side of the house.
Yeah. We can look down. There's another urn, and these are placed sort of symmetrically on the it's the front of the it's the side of the house, isn't it? But you can see that one's starting. And when these creepers are finished creeping, they'll be all the way to the ground, won't they?
That's correct. We sometimes give them haircuts in the middle of the summer because they just get too long. But the other thing that's unique about them as gardeners is they're in all these 11 different locations. I mean, some are getting a lot more sun than others, some are getting a lot more rain than others, and so we can't, even though it's the same plant material, we cannot treat them the same.
I see.
So we actually get up and look at them at least 3 times a week. We have a special urn committee.
Well, they look like they're doing fine.
Well, thank you.
Susan, Frank Lloyd Wright always liked to bring the outdoors in. So in your thinking, when you wanted to start a prairie garden landscape here, You wanted to take the indoors out because it was a prairie-style house, right?
That is correct.
And so what we're looking at here is all native prairie plants.
That is exactly
Neat.
right. So 2 years ago, this was barren here, and we purchased some native prairie plants from Lincoln Memorial Garden. They're experts on that thing. And we started them in that drought, remember, 2 years ago.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And we were crazed, again, trying to make sure they survived, and they did quite well. And the other part of this is that they also attract butterflies. And, the butterfly is a main motif in the house besides the sumac.
Let's walk down so we can see this colorful one that's blooming here. You called this milkweed, I think?
This is the butterfly milkweed.
Butterflies love this, huh? That's
and they love this.
Orange color?
They absolutely love it. This is their favorite food.
Is that right? And so we should probably see some flapping around here before too long. And so you cut your teeth on your prairie plants here, and you said, well, let's move it out too. And so this is garden number 2 over here, right?
That's correct. So last year, over here we just had a lot of lilies, and we decided to remove them and try, like I said, native prairie plant garden number 2. And so these are just 1 year old, and I think they're amazing.
This is the second year for this. So you started this last year.
We started them in June.
Wow, they have really
and
thrived in this
1
location,
year.
haven't they?
They absolutely have. And the other thing we have here is the other motif of the house, and that is the sumac.
And that's this tree right here.
Correct.
And if you go through, when you say the other theme of the house, if you go through this house and you look at the windows and you look at many of the appointments have this sumac design. It's very clever.
So between the sumac and the butterfly, we again have taken the inside back out with what we've planted here.
Speaking of the butterfly, I want to see the back of your shirt. If you would turn around for us. This is the Master Gardener's shirt, and this is the Dana Thomas house, and that's of course one of the windows, one of the stained glass windows. It also looks like the lamp covers, and it looks like a lot of the things in this.
Around the front door, and what you have to know, the only original room in the house that was there, like I said before, the big restoration, there's a mantle there, and on the mantle are butterflies. So we know that Susan had a love for butterflies, and for some reason Frank Lloyd Wright decided to respect and honor that. And then there's a butterfly motif throughout the house.
Yeah,
so.
Terrific. Well, there's also some very interesting gardening work going on at the old state capitol where volunteers are helping over there too. So we're going to make that our next stop. I want to thank you and your fellow Master Gardeners for giving us a tour and letting us see this. It's
Thank
terrific.
you. We love it, and we'd love for people to come and enjoy.
Okay, thanks, Susan.
Thank you, Mark.
Justin Blandford, not only at the Dana Thomas House, but here at the old state capitol as well. These are monumental buildings. And when people go to see these monumental buildings, many times they have traveled over many states, for, many miles. And it's really nice if we could match the inside of these beautiful buildings with the outside, if it could be just as impressive.
The historic sites in our community are definitely world-class sites. People travel from all around the world to enjoy the resources that we have right here in the state of Illinois and the community of Springfield. And so our goal is to match those experiences up, that they are just as provocative and impactful on the outside as the stories we tell on the inside, as the artifacts that we preserve. We want to make them world-class inside and out. And that's part of lifting up and making sure that we're doing the best job we can for the people that we work for, the people of Illinois, who deserve this level of service, but also from the people who use their hard-earned money to travel from all around the world to enjoy their time in our community.
In this day and age, doing things like landscape planning and design and hiring gardeners, that's not going to happen. I mean, the resources are not available for that.
That sort of approach just wouldn't be realistic for us right now. So that's why we're so thankful that there are so many volunteers, professionals in our community, whether they're designing individual pieces for the inside of our sites, or helping us create landscape plans on the outside, or helping us maintain them. We're working with all those individuals to make the most of these experiences.
We saw 2 groups over at the Dana Thomas House that help, and they've made those grounds look spectacular over there. And you've also got a group here, the Springfield Civic Garden Club. They bring things, they gussy up the inside of the place with these gorgeous plant designs that they bring. And you had an interesting experience when you went to ask for their help.
Well, we started a few years ago by creating smaller gardens on the exterior of the old state capitol, and you're going to see them in just a little bit. But we went to the Springfield Civic Garden Club to ask for help because we really didn't have many resources at that time either. And they responded in force and just came out and helped us plant the gardens, and gave us recommendations on how to care for them, and it made all the difference. And here we are several years later, and that relationship with the Springfield Civic Garden Club just continues to grow and flourish.
Sometimes all you have to do is ask, and you're answered in abundance, aren't you?
We sure are, and we put the call out, we make the ask, and we are just really heartened by the idea that there are so many thankful people who enjoy the historic resources that our community has, and of course, as you've seen today, they want to help.
Yeah, they do. When later on in this program, you actually have a landscape design company, a Springfield company, that has agreed gratis to design the master plan for the grounds here at the old state capitol. And interestingly, you're hoping to have all this in place for the bicentennial of the state.
2018 is our goal. We've made it our goal to bring the downtown square, part of which the old state capitol is, and make it a world-class destination on the outside. And we're just humbled by the fact that two people like Mark and Lori McWilliams of Copper Tree, who we know are extraordinarily busy and have already made so many generous contributions in our community, that they're making room in their schedule and in their calendar and in their resources to be a part of this plan. It's really humbling to work with folks like that.
Yeah. Well, Justin, thank you. And good luck for the next 4 years, because it's going to come together, isn't it? It's going to come together.
It is going to come together. I'm very confident that we'll succeed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Ann Hamilton at the Springfield Civic Garden Club. You have a keen interest in the Dana Thomas House, which we visited earlier in this program.
Yes,
in fact, you were telling me that this past Christmas, for the first time, you all decorated the inside of the house and really went all out, didn't you?
We really did. It was an amazing project. First of all, let me tell you that after the Garden Club agreed to do it, I lost sleep for 2 nights. I thought, my goodness, it's over 12,000 square feet, 35 rooms. How do you begin with a project like that? But it was remarkable. We had 47 volunteers from the Garden Club, plus a few additional volunteers from the community who stepped up to do things like decorate the dining room and all sorts of things. We had 500 volunteer hours to do that project. But again, it's 12,000 square feet.
Are you going to do it next Christmas?
Oh, yes.
Well, we're going to do a program then. We're going to do a story on it so we can actually see what you're talking about.
Yes, it's remarkable.
You also help out here at the old state capitol. This is not that kind of a job. It's not an immense job like that.
Right.
But these geranium beds here, these circular geranium beds, wouldn't be here without your group. I mean, somebody had to come in and add a little color, and you all volunteered
We
to
did
do
that. It's one of our members, Wendy Weisenburn, has a geranium greenhouse, and she donated all of these geraniums that you see in the beds and in the planter. And she also donated the ones that you saw this morning at the Dana Thomas House. And she donated geraniums to several other projects in the community. Probably about 1,500 geraniums total.
That's terrific.
And so we've been able to do a lot of things here, including put the geraniums in those beautiful planters.
I love these urns up here.
Aren't they fantastic?
And the reason I love them so much is because they match the
Yes, they do.
stone in the old state capitol.
Right. They're stone from southern Illinois. They're from a place called Long Shadow in Pomona, Illinois. And if you've been to southern Illinois, you know that there's that kind of limestone everywhere.
Yeah.
So they look absolutely perfect here.
Yeah.
And there's a very big plan to add to this sort of thing with an additional 8 planters. And I believe you'll be seeing that in a little while.
And you and your group got the planters. It was your resources that got a hold of the plant.
No, our group is the first organization to step forward with a donation to buy the first planter.
I see.
So the old state capitol got a grant from the Springfield Civic Garden Club of $500
Terrific.
to start toward one of these
Acquiring the
planters.
planters.
Right.
Terrific.
But we were the first to come forward with that, which we're very proud of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Mark McWilliams, in a few years, the old state capitol grounds are going to look a little bit different.
That's exactly right. That's our whole purpose, and we really want to make it look and get exciting and drag people off the sidewalk.
Your company, Copper Tree?
Yes.
Is that the name of it?
Yep.
Okay. You do landscape design.
Yes.
You also sell the materials, and you sell the designer items that go along with what you do.
Right.
And you volunteered your
Yes.
company's services to develop this plan.
That's exactly right. We really like to give back to the community, and this is one project we're doing this year. We did a garden already for kids, and we actually did a big project for the city. So I like to do a lot of this and give back to my community.
Let's take a look at a couple of the plans you've developed, okay? This is number one. Okay, we can see this in the center, of course, is the old state capitol building.
That's correct.
This is an entire city block what we call the square.
That's right.
Describe to me what you want to do here.
Well, what we're trying to do is a couple different things with this plan. We're trying to open up the entrances so that they feel more welcoming, and in the meantime, we're going to landscape along the walk, actually put some park benches in. We have a couple beautiful long shadow containers that will go in that will have annual color. So we're really going to try to push people in through all this color. The other big part of this plan, which is really, really neat, we want to take, or what we are proposing is to take this outer area all the way around the Capitol complex and put that into Illinois natives. So it's going to be like an Illinois native botanical garden that people can come in and walk through and see what's native out there and how they like it in those areas. This also has a walking path all the way around, which will help you enjoy this area. And that walking path is historical. It did exist back in the time of Abraham Lincoln.
I'm going to grab the other plan here. We can keep this right here. We'll just stack it up against it. And this is another equally possible plan.
That's exactly right.
It's whatever the board approves, I assume. You're going to submit them.
A couple different options. Here's the biggie. This one doesn't have the walkway around and not as much landscaping at the main entrances, but what we're proposing is to actually open new entrances at a 45. Bring them in, once again, a park-like setting, beautiful area that they can sit at, actually have a picnic at, and then move in. And then this also shows some landscaping up around the building. Now, that's not going to be historical, but the point of it is color and a nice parterre garden, and actually have our long shadow planters in these different areas, and those will be full of color also, annual color.
Terrific.
So a couple of different options, both architecturally correct, but we're giving some different feedback on it. Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks to you and your company for doing this. And it's very interesting. People that pay attention to this piece of property are going to find this very interesting.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks to Copper Tree, Mark McWilliams and his bunch. Also to those master gardeners, Springfield Civic Garden Club, thank you all that help keep these grounds beautiful and make them beautiful. This might just be ready for 2018 when Illinois turns 200 years old. With another Illinois story at the old state capitol in Springfield, I'm Mark McDonald. Thanks for watching.
Illinois Stories is brought to you by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the support of viewers like you. Thank you. For a DVD copy of the program you've just seen, send $19.95 to Network Knowledge, P.O. Box 6248, Springfield, Illinois 62708. Be sure to include the program name, subject, and when the program aired. You can also order with your credit card by calling 800-232-3605.